This is gonna hurt. You and your corporate morals. This is gonna hurt. You and your corporate morals. Stock options. The world is all mine.
Putting the cart before the horse with this vid. Making reviews can take some time, so I like to post playthroughs of stealth games in the interim. I said in my final thoughts for Sniper Elite 5 that I wasn't sure which stealth games I wanted to pick up afterwards. All the games I played for the channel were on the PC because it was easy for me to boot up the games and hit record on OBS. But after dipping my toes into Armored Core, I wanted to try out another From Software title on the PS2, so I picked up Tenchu, Wrath of Heaven. Tenchu, Wrath of Heaven is a 2003 stealth game developed by From Software. It takes place during feudal Japan, and you play as either Rikimaru or Ayame, ninja in the service of Lord Goda. Wrath of Heaven is the third game in the series, as the first two are on the PS1. The plot continues from those past games, so if you start with it like I did, you're gonna miss out on key details regarding past events and returning foes. But none of that matters for this video. Today, we're gonna talk about the bonus mission that unlocks once you beat both campaigns, as well as a sorta secret third campaign. If you want to know what happens in those stories, I have videos coming out for all three characters after this passing thoughts. Anyways, once you fully beat the game, a new option appears in the main menu called Through the Portal.
As the castle collapsed, the only way to escape was to jump into the portal that Mayo fled into. Inside the portal was a separate universe, a world in which a large biotech pharmaceutical company created a deadly disease and sold the cure for a large profit. Many civilians could not afford the cure and died.
Why contain it?
The government's auditing of accounting procedures led to the unveiling of large fraud, but the CEO bribed his way out of jail. The CEO must be punished. You must punish the evil CEO.
You might not notice it at first, but this is the funniest thing that From Software has ever made. This game came out in 2003, but the conceit behind the mission somehow became relevant in the current year. When the mission starts, we're treated to a different kind of environment than we're used to in the main game. Tenchu levels are typically set in rural Japanese villages, or houses full of tatami mats and paper screen doors. But now, we're in the gritty streets of a modern American city. The color palette is a drab gray, and there's a basketball court off to the side from where we start. Here's a callback to a game I never thought I'd bring up again. This starting area reminded me of the New York levels in Eve of Extinction, which also has a basketball court. That was like the visual shorthand games would have to indicate that you were deep in the city back then. Unlike the main game, there's only one type of enemy that's present in this mission. I wasn't sure if these were New York's finest or just security for the company, but if you wait around, you can pick up a few lines to find out that they're just rent-a-cops for Umbrella.
Mama said quit this company.
You might think it's hokey, but I love that these enemies are just reskins of the swordsmen and archers in the main game. What makes them great is how they're all the same body type, and if you listen to them after you kill them, they say this.
Praise the donuts from heaven.
I can see some connections with these cops and enemy types in the Souls games. Although they play up the medieval horror aesthetic, there are enemies in the Souls games that don't look inherently threatening, but goofy. That goofiness poses a more serious threat because you approach them with a lowered guard, and they'll take advantage of that. The basilisks in Dark Souls are my go-to example for that design decision. These cops are the predecessors to those types of troll enemies, because the sheer sight of their guts barely fitting their uniforms makes you underestimate them until you run into their lines of sight. Just like regular cops, these guys go into a full panic when one of their own goes down, and they're willing to throw due process out the window just to avenge their fallen brother. It sucks how From Software has been stuck doing Souls games for so long, because they're really good at roasting Americans. These fat mall cops have more satire in them than anything Rockstar could do in Grand Theft Auto. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, considering how hard Metal Wolf Chaos went.
Jody, how's my schedule look for today?
You've got a conference and dinner party at the Japanese embassy regarding wildlife protection.
Oh yeah. Sorry, but I'll have to cancel that. I'm heading out to save America. Can you let them know I won't be able to make it?
Yes, Mr. President.
The only thing that could make this extra mode perfect would have been to replace the poison rice ball model with an actual donut. Once you get past all the high-level security, you make it up to the corporate office and face Martin Shkreli. Oh, he's a cyborg. The first rule of Fight Club is to never play fair. Enemies will turtle, command grab you, and spam their own combo strings while juggling you in the air. This guy is no different, but his moves are way flashier than bosses in the main game. Every time I showed up this fight, my friends would joke about how the guy looks like Wesker from Resident Evil. But it ain't no joke when he can do this.
This is gonna hurt. Let's die! You and your corporate morals. Stock options. The world is all mine.
The annoying thing about this extra mode is that you don't have the chance to choose your loadout before starting the mission, and you don't have access to advanced skills. In the main game, getting enough stealth kills per mission would unlock a new skill that could aid you during stealth or combat encounters. The final skill is extremely powerful, but puts you at risk for failure because it reduces your health to 1 point. Certain items have multiple functions depending on the situation. Blow darts can instantly kill enemies that are unaware of your presence and deal poison damage against enemies that are alert. Explosive items can be used to deal massive amounts of damage, as well as stun enemies so that you can finish them off with other attacks. We don't have any of those items in this mode, but we do have caltrops. As soon as the fight starts, run away and drop some caltrops. Characters always throw caltrops behind them because they're meant to prevent enemies from chasing you during an alert. But they're also good at stunning enemies long enough for you to get in and deal some damage. The best thing about caltrops is that you always drop 5 at a time, so you can manipulate the boss into running into the caltrops, smack him a few times or throw him to the ground and stab him, and repeat the process until he drops. Listen to this line once you beat the boss.
My CPA said it was legal.
Once he's dead, your job's complete, and you're sent back to your proper timeline. This mode is short and quite a departure from the main game, but I like that From Software put the extra work to create this scenario. As I played it, I couldn't help but compare it to extra modes in other games that had similar situations. Jitstream Sam's DLC in Metal Gear Rising also tasks you with killing the head of a corporation, and all the private security that stands in your way.
State your business here.
Me? Oh, just sharpening my skills. Wandering the earth, dispensing justice, but only to those who deserve it. Such as outlaws, desperados.
You refer to World Marshal.
Jamais Vu in Ground Zeroes also features a man displaced from time that destroys cybernetic enemies. If your computer can handle running PC SX2, try out Tenchu, Wrath of Heaven. You'll have to beat all 3 campaigns to unlock through the portal, but you can also input a cheat code at the main menu to unlock it immediately. I'm already deep into Tenchu Fatal Shadows, and it's got me hoping that if Armored Core becomes as successful as the Souls games, maybe From Software will revitalize their other IPs and give us a proper modern Tenchu, instead of a half measure like Sekiro.